Why can a massive airplane carrying 239 people vanish without a trace in the age of satellites and radar? On March 8, 2014, MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, bound for Beijing. The flight was routine, scheduled to take about 6 hours. On board were 227 passengers and 12 crew members from 15 nations. Most were Chinese citizens, along with Malaysians, Australians, and others. Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, a veteran pilot with over 18,000 flying hours, commanded the flight, assisted by First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid, who was on one of his first flights in a Boeing 777. At 12:42 a.m. MH370 departed. Weather was clear, the aircraft in perfect condition. At 1:19 a.m., as the plane left Malaysian airspace, air traffic control instructed the pilots to switch over to Vietnam's controllers. The last recorded words came from the cockpit. "Good night, Malaysian370.com. Routine, nothing unusual." Then, silence. Minutes later, MH370's transponder stopped transmitting. The plane disappeared from civilian radar. Military radar, however, still tracked it for a time. To everyone's shock, MH370 had not continued toward Beijing. Instead, it turned sharply west, crossing back over the Malaysian peninsula, then heading northwest over the Andaman Sea. After that, it vanished. At first, the world thought this was just another tragic crash, but as hours turned into days, the mystery deepened. There was no distress call, no wreckage, no emergency beacon, nothing. Search and rescue operations began in the South China Sea, where the plane was last seen on civilian radar. Dozens of ships and aircraft from multiple countries scoured the waters, but MH370 was not there. As data slowly emerged, investigators turned their eyes elsewhere. Satellite company Inmarsat revealed a breakthrough. Even though MH370's transponder had gone dark, the plane's system still made handshakes with satellites every hour. These signals didn't show exact location, but they did reveal distance. Using mathematics, analysts determined that MH370 had continued flying for nearly 7 more hours after disappearing from radar. This shocking revelation changed everything. The possible flight paths formed to giant arcs, one north, towards Central Asia, and one south, deep into the Indian Ocean. After analysis, the northern route was ruled out. The southern path meant MH370 had ended somewhere in the vast, remote Indian Ocean. The search moved to one of the most hostile regions on Earth. Stormy seas, powerful currents, and depths up to 4,000 meters. Despite the largest and most expensive search in aviation history, covering 120,000 square kilometers, no wreckage was found. Families were left in anguish. In China, protests erupted as relatives demanded answers. In Malaysia, frustration grew as officials gave conflicting statements. Conspiracy theories exploded across the internet. Some believed MH370 had been hijacked, perhaps by terrorists, or even by the crew. Others suspected a mechanical failure, such as a sudden fire or depressurization, which left the crew unconscious while the plane flew on autopilot until fuel ran out. But no theory fully explained the mysterious turns, the silence, and the total lack of wreckage. Then, in 2015, a breakthrough. A piece of a wing, called a flaperon, washed up on island, off the coast of Africa, thousands of miles from where MH370 had vanished. More debris was later found on beaches in Madagascar, Tanzania, and Mozambique, all carried by ocean currents. These pieces proved the plane had crashed in the southern Indian Ocean. But the main wreckage, and the black boxes, remained lost. The lack of answers kept the theories alive. One theory: pilot suicide. Some experts suggest Captain Zahari deliberately diverted the plane. His home flight simulator contained routes into the southern Indian Ocean, eerily similar to MH370's path. But supporters argue there's no solid evidence, and Zahari had no known motive. Another theory: hijacking. Could terrorists have seized the plane? But no group ever claimed responsibility, and the complex maneuvers suggested skill beyond a casual hijacker. Then came the mechanical failure theories. Perhaps a fire knocked out communications and filled the cabin with smoke. Or maybe a sudden loss of oxygen left everyone unconscious. A so-called ghost flight, until the engines flamed out. But why the deliberate turns and changes in altitude? More far-fetched ideas surfaced. Some claimed the plane was secretly shot down, or even landed on a hidden military base. Others believed governments were covering up something much bigger. But without the wreckage, the truth remained locked beneath the ocean. The human side of the tragedy was heartbreaking. Families waited in hotels for weeks, clinging to hope their loved ones might be alive. Rumors of sightings, faint signals, and false alarms tormented them. Eventually, hope turned to grief, but grief without closure. To this day, many families still live with unanswered questions. The disappearance of MH370 exposed how fragile our modern systems can be. How could a Boeing 777, one of the safest, most advanced aircraft, vanish in an era of global surveillance? The incident forced changes. New rules requiring planes to automatically transmit location data more frequently, and tracking technology to prevent such disappearances in the future. By 2018, after years of searching and nearly $200 million spent, the official hunt was suspended. MH370 remains missing. The wreckage and the answers still lie hidden in the deep. Yet, the mystery continues to capture the world. Books, documentaries, and endless debates keep the story alive. For some, it is the ultimate unsolved case of modern aviation. For others, it is a symbol of grief, loss, and the limits of human knowledge. Flight MH370 took off on a clear night, with passengers expecting to arrive in Beijing by morning. Instead, they entered history as part of one of the greatest mysteries of our time. 239 souls vanished, and with them, certainty itself. Until the wreckage is found, the ocean keeps its secret, and the world is left to ask, what really happened to Flight MH370? This is the story of MH370, a story the world will never forget.